Hello, my name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr., and I was born July 4th, 1986. Today I want to talk about something that I just notice and know that goes on all around me, but not just with the animals do they bicker and battle and have little disagreements, but a lot of times that happens with humans. Like right there, you can hear a disagreement because there's an abundance of food, but one thinks that there may not be enough for them, so I'm going to try to fight. And while they're in the middle of fighting, they actually end up getting nowhere and nothing ever gets solved, and someone else comes and eats up the food that they're eating. It's super fascinating, something that is just very, I don't know what it is, but it's super fascinating for me to just sit, watch, and study some animals that I just watch and pay very close attention to them. And just realize what it is that they do is just crazy how it's super similar to the stuff that we do and things that how we as humans act and what we do with each other. That we see that there's an abundance of stuff out there for us. There's an abundance out here on this land, on this earth for us. There's an absolute abundance. But yet we have it in us that we're going to try to fight about that little bit right there. Not realizing that when you're sitting there fighting, someone else from the outside is just going to come in and just take it from you and come in and swoop it up. And how we are in the laws of the land out here, being what it is that we do, just the simple fact of you could be fighting to the point that now there's a situation that comes in that the police start to show up. And then they're going to remove you and take you away from what it is that you're fighting about. And now you don't even have the chance to even be able to get close to it, be able to get in it. Something that is just super fascinating. It's just super interesting because the more and more I just sit and watch these guys do what they do, the more and more I just realize exactly what it is that we do and how we do and why we do and what goes down with what we do. That no longer is it a mystery. No longer am I shocked. Am I like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that happened when things happen. Because something happened to me today that just kind of really put a lot of thought behind me about what it is that's going out here in the world and why it is that people are doing what they're doing and why people act the way that they act. That most cases, people act the way they act because they don't have. And when you don't have, you run into a situation that you think that you need to attack those that do have. And when you start to attack the ones that do have, you're going to run into a situation because in most cases, the ones that do have are more likely doing the correct and the right things because that's why they do have. If they were mistreated, if they were not taken care of, if they were not doing what it is they were supposed to be doing and holding up to what it is that they should be constantly doing, they wouldn't have. That's why they do have. And it's a very interesting thing because it's something that just goes on in this world that I just see more and more. And now that it's became personal to me, I just realize that it just unfortunately makes me smile, but yet I don't smile in such a way that, haha, look at you, I got and you don't. I smile in a way of realizing I know what it is that's going on. I know why things are happening. I know why it seems like you have to try to attack, where you have to try to attack because you're not quite up to doing what it is that you see someone else doing. And then you think that you can try and stop and hinder and slow people down from doing what they're doing, that you have some sort of sway. But it's just, you're out to try to take what it is that you don't have and what it is that you're doing because you run into a situation that you're just saying to yourself like, I got to get back at them because they have what I don't have. I got to get back at them because they're not doing what it is that you would think that you would do with what it is that they have, but yet you don't have what it is they have, so you have to try to come in and complain about what it is that they have to try to get your say-so in. But that's the main thing that I'm always going to keep coming down to, is realizing you don't have because you don't do. And because you don't do, you want to try to get mad at the ones that do have. That's a concept that I just constantly see and always know that keeps going on and on in this world. That someone wants to be so mad. I'm sorry, girlfriend, you got to get out of here. Everyone in here is trying to get on top of you. But something that I've just come to realize is how we have some people in our society, especially here in the United States of America, that want to get so mad at somebody that's, say, a wealthy person. Like, oh, they did this and they did that, not realizing that it's not simple, it's not easy to be able to get to that point. And say that's why you're not at that point. But it doesn't come down to the point of saying because somebody has a lot, somebody has an abundance, that they should just give to you just because. That they should just give it all away and you should be able to have it. That is just not the way that this world works, and it's never the way this world is ever going to be. And some people would want the world to be such a way, but it's never going to be that. It never has been that, and it's just not going to be able to, and if it tries to go to that in the future, it's not going to be functional. It's not going to work. It's not going to survive. It's not going to thrive. It's just going to fail. Because the ones that do have are just, for one, if they are forced to give it all up, they're not going to try to have anymore. They're just going to put all that they have somewhere else, so far away that no one else is able to even be able to get to it. That now the people that are wanting what it is that people have are now in an even more worse off situation, because now the ones that they were able to get from are no longer contributing to. So now you just have absolutely nothing at all. I don't know what it is that goes on in this world, on why someone would think that because somebody that has something, Oreo, that they must be doing. Come way over here next to me. Come a little bit closer, a little more. Yeah, down, right down. And to try to think that you're going to be able to get what it is that someone else has by just complaining, by just trying to put up a fit, by just stomping your feet and acting like a little baby-sized child, as opposed to realizing that the reason you don't have is because you're not doing anything. The reason why you look around in what it is that you're doing and just feeling this, I can't get past this and I'm just stuck and I don't know where to go, is because you're not doing anything. Nothing's happening. That's the main thing that I'm going to say that just constantly goes on over and over and over in this Bible when God is talking to us about what it is that we're doing. If you're not trying to pursue to do more, to get better, to be better, to do anything, you're not going to get there. You're not going to gain anything. You're not going to go anywhere, and nothing's going to come to you. That's promised and guaranteed to you. Until you decide to get up and say, you know what, I want to make a change. I want to do something. I want to make something happen. I want to figure out how to be able to get my ways that I'm looking for. You got to get up and put in that action. You got to figure out how to be able to get out of the addictions you're a part of. You got to figure out how to be able to get out of the turmoil that you're in. You got to figure out how to be able to start respecting those that are around you, which just even starts on respecting your own self and starting to love your own self, starting to appreciate your own self. If you don't appreciate yourself, there's no way impossible you're going to be able to appreciate someone next to you. And someone might try and say that they're not satisfied and not happy with what it is that they got, that they got the short end in the stick. Where I'm going to say there used to be a time in the day that things were like that. And that's definitely in the time of Jacob and Esau, back in the days, so this is back in the book of Genesis, with Jacob and Esau, when Jacob had it in him that he's like, I want to be able to have the blessing, but Jacob was going to, Israel was going to give it to Esau. And then Esau was doing all that he can, but there was something in him that God already knew up front, that already prophesied to his mother that said, you're not the one that's going to be the leader of these nations. You're the one that's going to be a leader of some nations, but not those nations. That there's going to be a split going on here, and a split that's going to have to happen to basically signify what's, say, good and what's bad. And there's not... What's very, very interesting about this is there's no like specific color that is put upon this. That a lot of people out here just try to put color, saying, oh, if you're this, you're white, you're wrong. If you're black, you're wrong. If you're white, you're right. If you're black, you're right. And it's very interesting because that's all what humans like to do. That's not at all what God is trying to do. But it's very interesting here to just read a lot about this because a lot of it is said in a way that I just know and just see and just have a good experience with what it is that I have going on out here, with what it is that I do. That someone would look upon what it is that I'm doing and say, how are you able to do such a thing? Why do you have that and I can't have that? Why are you able to do that and I can't do that? For one, I'm going to say that there's a very interesting thing that happens in life when you start to really, really call upon God and start to look forward to Him and start to just praise Him and start to believe in Him and start to do everything that you can for Him. That blessings are going to come to you. Because there's something interesting here, because it's just a very interesting stuff here of in the book of Genesis, the 27th chapter of the 27th verse. So this is when Isaac, or Israel, whichever name you want to go by with them, gives the blessing to his son. And he says, the smell of my son, the smell of the field. The Lord has blessed. May God give you heaven's dew and earth riches and abundance of grain and new wine. May nations serve you and peoples bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers, and may your sons of your mother bow down to you. May those who curse you be cursed, and those who bless you be blessed. It's a very interesting thing because that's a concept that I'm going to say that I definitely live by today, of making sure at the end of that, which is very, very powerful. Those that you curse, they're going to curse, and those that you bless will be blessed. And that's a very interesting thing because I'm going to always go to everyone that I see and bless them and say, hey, man, I like what you're doing. And I want to even try to help you get into a better place, into a better situation. I see what's going on. I see that you don't have something. So I want to figure out how that I could be able to give you some more so that you can have something. I see that you're struggling and lacking over here in this. So I want to figure out how I could be able to get you to be in a better place with that. That I'm going to come to you and try to bless you in any way that I possibly can. That may be with some words. That may be with some trying to get you the right way to get the understanding. That may be trying to just get you to come out here and do something with me, to just show you something different that you've never seen before and be a part of something. And that's the part where those that I bless, they're going to bless me back. Even if that specific person doesn't bless me that I bless, you're going to run into the situation that nothing great but goodness is going to continue to keep coming back to me. But if I'm putting out curses, if I'm the curse, I hope that you fail. I hope that you're not going to make it. I hope that you everything that you do just gets destroyed. then that's what's going to keep coming back to you. So if you're coming at me, and I don't know why, and I don't know why this wants to continue to happen, but I just know that what I trust, what I know, and what God keeps promising me, whatever you keep trying to do, it's just not going to work. But I know that when you try to keep on cursing me, when you want to keep on trying to cursing others, when you want to try to keep on cursing those that are all around, all that's going to keep coming back to you is that same energy, that same passion, that same disaster, that same issue, that just same madness. That's all that's going to continue to keep on coming back to you. All that's going to come is what you're putting out there. So if you're constantly cursing people, please know. If you're constantly out there slandering people, just know. If you're constantly out there putting hate towards people, just know that that same amount of hate and slander and cursing is going to come right back into your face, and it's going to be all consuming inside of you. So why you don't have is more than likely because of what it is that you're constantly doing. And a lot of people say, oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. I've got this and this and this. And no, we've got Jesus Christ that came to us to be able to help us and save us and be able to bring us into the light of understanding how great and how wonderful and how truthful God truly is. That's what we have. So if you're still living under the ways that you feel like you're being oppressed and you're cursed and you're damaged and you're damned, you're not following along with this book to the almost completion. I don't even want to say almost. I don't know how far along we are. In my opinion, we're still in the days of all the disciples walking around. That we haven't done anything greater or anything less since then. In reality, we're still then. So when they're talking, I don't know why it is, but I just have it in me that we're still just there because they're still talking about us today and what it is that we do. That's why I just am very relaxed with what it is that I know that comes to me. I'm very calm with things that go down with me. I'm very, very just patient and just humbled and just chill when I see the world and what's going on. When I hear about this disaster going on, when I hear about this tragedy going on, I'm not anxious. When someone tries to get at me and try to do something mean to me, I'm just like, I don't care. Because I know for a fact what it is that I'm doing is correct. I know what it is and where it is that I'm at is good to go. I know that I'm taking care of what it is I need to take care of. So I'm not in any sort of way of just in agony, in frustration, in anger, in hate, in any of that. Because I know what's going to happen. I know what people are going to do. I know how people respond and how people act. I know all of that. And it's just, it's so easy for me to be able to live in this world today because of reading this book and studying this book and getting more and more into this Bible to just really, just know it as absolute much as I can and praying and asking about it. And sticking to the commands the absolute best that I can and learning more about certain things that I had questions with the commands. I'm like, is this okay? Is that okay? And it's something that's very fascinating because right up front with, say, the first cursing and the curse that first happened is very, very interesting because this is something that I just reading this and seeing this and just pondering this over and over that I had to read about it a few times. And it's something that I talked a little bit about yesterday, but it's the curse that Noah put on his son. I just can't get this guy's name right. I don't know what it is. Jehophith. I don't know what it is with this guy's name. That's a fascinating. That's the type of name that I'd give my son just to make people have to really look at it and then just ask him so he can speak up and say, "That's my name." I was like that show is. But the first curse that came where I'm wondering certain things. There's another part after this as well that I was very fascinated about. But right here in this is just super interesting because it just lets you know what it is that we shouldn't be doing. And right away it's just very fascinating because it's the understanding of Noah. And the reason why he curses his son, because he's sitting there looking at him naked, and Noah got drunk, and he passed out, and his dude's just naked laid out. And his son comes and looks at him, he's like, "Oh, look at that." And then he goes to his brothers, and he's like, "Oh, look at your daddy." And he's like that. So his other brothers decide, I'm not going to look at that. I'm not going to pay attention to that. And they cover him up by not looking at him. Where the other brother is just all up in it. Who knows the whole thing of what he was seeing and doing and understanding. But Noah's basically saying, and in reality, God is basically saying that we shouldn't be looking at another naked man. And that is something that you cursed from looking at that. And it's something that we should do our best to absolutely stay away from. And it's very fascinating because that just goes on like crazy today. That goes on to the point that it's almost like they're trying to indoctrinate everyone to be in a messed up situation with how everyone's treated, even at such a very, very young age. Even for me, like in the middle school, everyone's showering together and everyone's this. It's like we're not supposed to be looking at each other in a naked stance, that we should be refraining from that at all cases, because there's something that I don't know what it is here that's about it, that I'm still asking more of why is that, but that's something that we shouldn't be doing. We shouldn't be looking at each of each other in a situation where they don't have any clothes on and they're naked. It's something that is obviously, if you're watching any sort of porn, any sort of stuff like this, that you're in the middle of that and you're seeing that is something that you should be trying and doing your absolute best to stay the heck away from. And it's very fascinating, because this boy that wants to have what his brothers have just is not able to have, because he's doing things that he shouldn't be doing. And doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing is going to lead you into a situation where you're not going to have. And then when you say do want to have, you're going to run into a situation that someone's going to come through and just take from you. And they're going to always just keep on having from you. And you're never going to be able to keep what it is that you have, that someone's going to come in and conquer and just take over. It's fascinating, because that's just something of a scenario of something that I just see going on in my life today. And especially today. And especially like today, which is a couple hours ago today, of somebody trying to interject into something that just say they don't even know anything about. Like, you don't know anything about. You're trying to get in the middle of, and then it ends up is more likely going to just backfire on you, because you'll end up getting educated in the end about what actually is right and what it is that's going on here. That a lot of times people are trying to get into situations because they just are in themselves of, I don't know how do you have that and I don't have that? How are you able to do that and I can't do that? How are you able to go over there and I can't go over there and do that? How are you able to just be able to manage that and I can't manage that? And when you start getting into those mindsets, you're gonna start just stumbling and fumbling and just getting worse and worse and worse and worse and way worse and way worse. And you're not gonna know where to go, what to do, how to do, why to do. Anything is going to be able to work out for you. You're gonna run into a situation that you are going to be cursed, because all you're doing is putting curses out there towards others. All you're doing is going out there and trying to damage and trying to slander and trying to destroy others, as opposed to just looking at what it is that they have and what it is that's going on with them and just bless them and just say, wow, that's actually pretty amazing. Like that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat how you're able to do that. That's pretty fascinating how you're able to keep up with that. Let me learn more about that. Let me figure out more. How can I help you? As opposed to, let me figure out how to be able to try to damage you, how to try to slow you down, how to try to hinder you. I don't know what it is that just goes on. That's something that I have studied the most. He's a funny looking chicken. These frizzle chickens are interesting. It's just something that I just noticed the most, with just especially looking at this. This is a lot here. And since there's a lot of different personalities. They're not all the same. That's what I think is probably the neatest about some chicken over anything else that I've raised. That they are all, each and every single one is its own. Like, it does not act like the other ones do. Like every single one. They are all so unique. Whereas like the cows and the goats, like they're kind of like just, they move and do everything together. They eat together. They do everything the same way together. They eat the same way together. They all go and drink together the same way. They're like one unit, where these guys are individual. And it's fascinating to have them all out here and do what it is that I do with them, because you get to see how, when you put so many individual things together, how do they work and how do they function and what's going to go on with them. That you got some that are just so big and so, I'm going to take it and control the whole world. And you got the others that are just like, I just want to get out of the way. I just want to chill. I just want to hang out. And that's how we are as human beings, that we're all so extremely unique and so different. But there's some out here that help each other. So there's a whole group over there that you can't see, that they hang out with each other, they relax with each other, they chill with each other, and they're not trying to fight, they're not trying to bigger, they're trying to say bless each other. Where there's others out here like that one that's back there fighting right now that thinks I'm big and bad and tough, and he's all on his own. And then what happens to the ones that end up all on their own is they end up actually getting kicked out of here. That's why I don't know if you can see the ones that are actually outside of the cage right now. There's a few out there, and especially on this side back here, that they get kicked out. They don't get out because they want to leave, because their food and their water and safety is all in here. They get kicked out because they're not playing by the rules. They're not doing what it is they need to do. They're out here just damaging and destroying and trying to hurt everything else, as opposed to trying to help the flock and help the situation going on here. So they end up getting kicked out. And I know this because I put them back in here, and I watch them in the morning, and the other ones just push them and kick them right back out every day because they know you're not here for me. You're not here trying to help us. You're not here doing anything for us. And you're here trying to hinder us, and you're here trying to hurt us. So they end up forcing them out. It's very interesting, because that's what's going to happen to us as human beings when we're out here just trying to damage, trying to curse, and trying to just ruthlessly try to slander people and try to just bring them down. Try to put false, well, that's the best way of saying it. Try to put false testimony on people. When someone can come, where the judge can come through and look at it and just say, no, I don't understand what you were saying. Like, Why are you talking down about that? Why are you trying to say this about that when this actually isn't what's going on? It's super fascinating. It's super fascinating how this world works and what things go on with this world and how everything is that's out here. That, I don't know. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this, and something that I just really, really know that has just really come to me, because I've been really busy these past few days, and today I didn't even have time to just get the dress right and get everything right and get cooled down. That it's hot out and it's just hot. I've been busy. And it's just something that I just really have come to know and really been able to just recognize about this life and about this world. That the more that you are doing and being in a way of trying to do the best you can to do the right stuff, the more and more that you're trying to go by the commands of God and try to live an absolute holy life, a righteous life, a responsible life, a life to figure out how to be able to help out people the best way. The more and more that you try to do that, the more and more you're going to have people that are going to try and just attack you, try to sabotage everything that you're doing, try to destroy everything about you, try to just throw anything that they can on your name to try to just get you to get off of doing what it is that you're doing. That it's a very interesting thing, as opposed to it being the opposite effect. That I thought, and I kind of assumed that it would be the opposite effect. That the worse that you do, the more that you don't take care of, the more that you're disrespectful, the more that you're trying to damage and destroy, that the more that people will come in and try to correct you for doing that, for correct you in a way of like, you should stay away from that, you should get out of that because that's not right, that's not the way to go. But it doesn't work that way. The more that you're in the situation that you're just doing the best of the best that you can, that you're trying to be and doing everything you can to make everything look so right and so good. Not just look right, but actually doing it, putting in the effort, putting in the work behind to make that happen. The more that you have people out here that are just absolutely out to just hurt you, just want to just shut you down, just shove you down to nothingness, beat you down to the ground, and just try to do everything they can to slow you down and hinder you. And it's very fascinating, because since I know that and have been known that, I know what to do when that happens, and I know what to do when that comes around. And there's something that I know that is awesome, is I'm not here to try to think about it and try to keep it in my brain and try to worry about it and try to stumble my own self about it. God's got that. He's going to take care of that. And I don't need to speak anything. When the judge comes and you get sent to the judge, what do? You just stay silent. Don't think about what you're going to say. Just get there. When you get there, what you're going to say is going to come out. And it's very fascinating that seems to have been able to work for me just over and over and over again, over and over. And just, it's going to continue to keep on working, because I'm going to continue to keep on living the most righteous life that I can, with not trying to hate, not trying to destroy, not trying to slander, not trying to damage, not trying to do any of that, not trying to have no jealousy towards anybody, not trying to have no hate towards anybody, but just knowing that I appreciate what it is that you do. I appreciate even if you do try to hurt me, but I'm not going to try to get back at you. And it's just a beautiful way to be able to live, because when you live in that was something big that fell. When you live in that way, you're not in a situation that you have to worry, you have to stress, you have to be anxious, you have to be depressed, you have to be excited, you have to be anything about anything. When stuff happens, you're just like, oh, okay. When you get a phone call, someone trying to threaten you in a way, you're like, oh, okay, well, it's okay, it'll be all right. And you don't have to worry, because you know what you're doing is good to go. It's such an amazing thing. It's something that I would always just get challenged with a lot, with drinking, and especially smoking the marijuanas, because here in this state it's illegal. You're not allowed to have it. You're not allowed to sell it. You're not allowed to have a crumb of it inside of your vehicle or anywhere around you. You were not allowed to have this stuff. So for me, it kind of got into my brain of what ifs and what ifs, and what if I got pulled over? What if this and what if that? When you decide to stop doing it, when you decide to stay away from it, when you decide to, I was never a person to ever drink and drive. I don't know. I've just seen too many videos that it's just like, that looks terrifying. And I just stayed away from that. But it's just something like that, the same way that you're driving and you're living in a way of, I don't knows, and I'm unsures, and this could happen and that could happen, as opposed to just getting rid of it. When you get rid of it, that's no longer in your brain. It's no longer in your mind. When you're taking care of what you need to take care of, everything is good to go. There's no longer a background noise of like, oh, what if they this and what if that and how about this and how about that? No, everything is just good to go. Everything is clear. Everything is just fine. Everything is satisfied. So there's nothing that's going to say come back to you that could possibly damage you, because you're taking care of everything that you need to be taken care of. Everything is just perfect with you. So that's just such an easy way to be able to live. And that's the way that I'm going to say is how the commands and the laws of God are able to just really bring you some peace. because you're no longer looking over your shoulder like, what if? How about this? What if that happens? What if this happens? What if this goes down? What if that goes down? You're just living a life of just absolute chill because you don't have those thoughts. Everything that you're doing is in the rights of taking care of what it is you need to take care of. It's such a fascinating way to be able to live, such a fascinating way to be able to be on this planet, such a fascinating way to be able to just really be able to calm yourself down, realizing that majority of what you're stressing out for, what you have anxiety over, is stuff that's within your own self-control. It's not the outside world. The outside world can't bring peace to you. Only you can bring that to the outside world. And until you understand that, you're not growing up and living on this planet. You're living in absolute mass chaos and mass strife. Until you understand that that peace comes from what it is that you do. You paying attention to the commands. You paying attention to God's law. You paying attention to those things and starting to work on those things and start to dig deep with having a good understanding of knowing that that's going to be what's going to be able to bring you your freedom and your peace. That's the only way that you're going to be able to find that peace. That peace, I'm telling you, is not in some church, that some pastor, some preacher, some minister, or some whatever, anybody. That they're not going to be able to bring that to you. They just are not going to. And especially they're not going to bring it to you if they're not teaching you and preaching to you the correct message. The message that you have some things that you absolutely have to do. You have some things that you have to abide by. You have some things that you have no choice but to pay attention to and to move forward with and to keep into your heart. You have some things that, I don't care what you say that this feels good and that feels good. There's some things that if that makes you feel good and you're not supposed to be doing, you're not supposed to be doing it. And in reality, that almost comes down to pretty much anything. That if you have in your brain, I have to do this because it makes me feel good, and I can't this because if I don't do that, then I won't be able to make it. You got to quit that. I don't care what it is. A lot of people get stuck on just drugs and alcohol and sex and things like that. But there's an unlimited amount of things out here that are like that. That if you're out here doing something that you're just like, I won't be able to make it if I can't that. You're struggling right now. You have zero peace in you because you're constantly needing that, desiring that, fiending that to be able to make it to the next stage of your life. You're constantly just all on that to make it to your next stage, as opposed to realizing that you don't need any of that except for God to be able to give you what you need. And it's something for me that I've really been working with my own self with thinking, where I was like listening to the story of Genesis again today and listening to the beginning and listening about Adam and Eve and having a better understanding about it, that there's some things that I have to change up in my life that I was like, I need that. Like, I need that. And that would make my life better. As opposed to realizing, no, dude, that over there is not going to make your life better. You just doing what you're doing and taking care of what you need to take care of, that's what's going to make your life better. And that's what I need to focus more and more of my energy on, more and more of my time on, and way more of my efforts on. Instead of thinking that there's going to be that over there that's going to be able to make things better. No, things are better now. And if they're not now, then I need to work upon that, and then I can allow other things to be able to move around and be able to do. So until I'm able to satisfy myself with what I have, there's no reason to try to go to that next. Because that next is only going to keep pushing you further and further away from fixing that problem that's actually going on with you. And fixing that problem starts with understanding that there's some commandments that God has placed upon us that we are required to do and pay attention to. And there's some laws that He's put into our hearts that once you start to live by that, then you're really going to start to have a better understanding of what it is that God's looking for and what it is that God wants and who God actually truly is. But if you're out there taking substances that are altering your mindset, you're doing things that are keeping your flesh to feel good, you can't possibly know who God is because you're confused. You're confused because I used to sit and do a whole lot of smoking and just thinking, oh, I'm in this spiritual feeling. You know, I'm sitting back, I'm relaxed, I'm chill. I could hear God at that moment. In reality, no, I'm actually forcing myself further away from God because I'm using something that is blocking me, that's hindering me. Once I stop using those things that are blocking and hindering me, then I'm going to be able to hear, then I'm going to be able to understand. So something that, I don't know why, but our churches have, and especially that's where a lot of the products, especially the Paul, states about how the church is going to change up. That a lot of churches are, because he says it, it's like using the name of Jesus, but there's a specific way to use His name. His name isn't used as some magical genie that just gives you what you want and just makes everything happen for you. His name is used in a way to be able to get you to understand that there's some rules upon you that you have to do to be able to say use Him. And a lot of churches today are I'm going to say most every single one that I think that I've ever even been to in my life. I've never been to one still that says there's some laws and commands that you need to follow to be able to understand who God is. I've never heard of one. Outside of, I'll say, the Israelite camps that are out here doing what they're doing, that I'll give it to them. That is the message that they do preach and they do say. That get off the weed, get off the alcohol, get off the sex, get off the extra girls and guys, get off all these things. Get away from gambling. They're preaching that hard. They're getting all their people and all they I guess you call them members, to just get completely away from all of that. And that's how you're going to be able to understand who God is. That if you're doing any of that stuff, you can't understand him because you're not getting the full picture, because you're cloudy, your brain is foggy. You're not able to get a clear view because your mind is like, it's over there and it's over there and it's over there and it's up here and it's down there and it's all over the place. It can't stay focused. And when you can't stay focused, you're not going to be able to understand the Bible because you're going to read a few words and you're going to go somewhere else. You're going to read a few words and you're going to go over there. You just can't stay focused. And when you're not focused, you're not able to really understand who God is, because God is looking for us to worship him, to understand him by worshiping him and listen to him and submit our lives and give our lives to him. But if we're giving our lives to other places, there's no way that we're possibly able to understand who God is and what God is all about. That we're everywhere else. We're all over the place. And it's a very interesting thing, because that's something that just really hits me. It really hits me a lot, because it lets me know that if you're out there putting slander, putting gossip, putting curses upon other people, there's no way that you could possibly hear from God. Because when you're putting all that out there, that's all that's going to keep on coming back to you. It's all that's coming to you. But when you start to put blessings out, when you start, oh wow, I like what you're doing out there, that's pretty cool. Or I see you struggling with that. Let me help you out with that. Maybe you need some help out with that. Maybe that's the situation I see that I don't like it, but let me figure out how I can be able to help you to be able to get it into place. Or if I don't like it, who cares if I don't like it, if you're cool with it and things are good with it. But for me to at least be able to have a conversation with you, to just say, hey, I see what's going on. Can you explain to me why you're doing what you're doing, how you have it? Can you give me some insight on why you think that that's the best way forward, as opposed to just coming at and trying to man, what's that good word? It's something. But shit, try to destroy somebody, try to just defame somebody, try to just bring somebody down, try to put someone in a jam, trying to do everything you can to try to just get that person to just have to bow down to you, as opposed to figuring out how can I bow down to that person to be able to get that person into a better place. That's the way that we really should be focusing and living. Hey, Johnny, that's the chicken's food, homie. That's the way that we should really be focusing all of our energy on. How can I bow down to please you? Because that's the main thing that Johnny, all done. That's the main thing that Jesus kept on saying over and over again with, I'm here to serve you. You are not here to serve me. And if Jesus came here to serve us, what is it that we should be doing to each other and every single other person out here? That we should be doing our best to figure out how to be able to help that person out, as opposed to try to figure out how to damage that person. And with that, I just want to say very, very much so thankful. Thank you for today, for a very interesting day. That another first. I keep on having a lot of new firsts that keep on going in my world, that keep on happening in my life, that are just absolutely interesting. It's just amazing, I guess, is what I can say with it, because it lets me know the progression that I'm going. Because things that are going on in my world today, if it would have happened a year ago, 2 years ago, I don't know how I would have been able to deal with it. I don't know how I would be able to bounce back from it. I don't know how I would have been able to just be able to manage. But yet, I'm able to manage today because I have a good understanding of knowing that in reality, God's got my back, because I'm doing everything in my power to live by the laws that he's given me and live by the commands that he's given me. And once I'm doing that, I'm going to realize that there's some things out here that I should pay attention to, and some things out here that I just don't need to focus on. And I'm so thankful for that. I'm so thankful to know that majority of the stuff out here, that everyone is just so hard on just, I got to do, I want to be, that it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's all meaningless. It's just absolute pointless, because what does matter is sticking to the commands and sticking to the laws. That's all that matters. That's it. That's all that matters. And once I'm doing that, I have a very good, clear understanding of knowing where it is that I'm going next. And for me, I don't know why, but I just have a very good, clear understanding of where I'm going next and what it is that I'm doing, what it is that I'm focusing on. It's just weird, because this past couple of days I've been asking for the next thing, and it just seems like I'm just getting up and I'm just doing different things that's setting me up for my future to come. And I know what I'm looking for, and I know what I want, and I know what I desire, and I know what dreams have even came to me about where it is that I'm going, what's going to happen. And it's interesting that I could just see that actually like happening and going down and moving forward. That I'm doing things today, I'm getting up and doing different stuff. I'm not doing the same old things. I'm doing different stuff today, different things. And when I'm doing these different things, I'm like, hey, that actually followed through. Hey, that followed through. Hey, that came. And it's very interesting on how it all works. And I'm thankful to be able to see that and know that God is real. He's totally real. He created this land, and he's looking for us to worship him, to bow down to him, so that he can be able to do for us. And it starts with us starting it first, and then God's going to follow through. It doesn't start with God doing it. That God already started. He gave us life. That's well done enough. He gave us the sun. He gave us the moon. He gave us the rain. He gave us his lands. That's like, in overabundance already. He's given you the opportunity to be able to do. And now he's asking for us to pray to him and to worship him. And then we're going to be able to upgrade and move forward to what it is that we should be able to go to next. It's such an amazing thing to be able to be a part of out here, that when I just look at all this, and even though I see the bickering and the fighting, I see a good level of just coolness. Because out here is just an overabundance, and this is an overabundance of food beyond food. I got eggs that are just popping out that I got too many. I don't even know what to do with anymore. And all these roosters out here are going to be down for chicken dinner meal. That it's just an absolute blessing, an absolutely just amazing thing to be able to be a part of. That I wish that I could be able to give this to more people and be able to show people and help people and be able to guide more people to be able to do such a thing for yourself. Because when you have your own food source, that I've been practicing and playing with, realizing not using a fridge or a freezer anymore, of just keeping it alive until the point that it's time to eat. And just when you're able to do such a thing, it's such a way of accomplishment that you don't need to rely upon anybody to do what you do, that you could do it yourself. And when you start to be able to have that, I'm telling you start to enter into a different realm. And that different realm is God's realm, his spirit world, when you're no longer worried about the things of the world out here, that you're worried about just the spiritual ways of being able to live on this planet. That's such a great place to be. Thank you. Y'all can get up.